Hi there. It's a pretty grey and blustery mid-January day today, and I thought it would be ideal to use today, where it's mostly not great to be at the allotment or at community gardens. I'm going to use this opportunity to transfer the worms that we got from Erica, from Erica's Little Welsh Garden a couple of weeks ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago now, from their temporary home in the temporary wormery that I made for them, temporary bucket wormery that I made for them, into the original wormery bin, which I received from Gumtree, where a lady posted an advert for a free original wormery that she no longer wanted. So what I'm going to do now is just show you the state of the original wormery as it is at the moment, which is pretty dirty. It needs a really good and thorough clean. And I will also show you the other bits of paraphernalia that we are going to use to create the new home for the Cedrics and Cedricetas. Now, if you've not been watching our channel, you may not know that we have named our worms, and as they are hermaphrodites, we have decided to call them both Cedrics and Cedricetas. It's obviously been used. It's actually had two previous owners, I understand from the lady we picked it up from, and it needs a thorough clean. At the top here we have the lid, and then there are two air holes here for the worms, obviously a handle. At the side, the lid opens up like that. At the bottom, down here, is a tap where the worm juice would come out. And if we just take you over here, you can see here, this is actually a lock. So that stops the bin being opened. And then there's a handle on either side as well. Here is some sort of thickish fabric to obviously give some insulation. You can see here the two air holes for the worms. Then if we look inside, you can see this needs a really good clean out. This is the base of the wormery, the black at the bottom. There are feet. Let's see if I can move that up. Feet on the base here. Now, and in the bottom is, that's where the worm juice would collect. So this needs a really good clean out. I have spoken to the original wormery, as I wasn't sure what this was. I thought it may be an air hole to circulate air from the worm juice container at the bottom to the top. Though convection wise I couldn't really see how that would work. Apparently this pipe is absolutely nothing to do with the original wormery. This piece of equipment is not sold with this pipe. And what I now think has happened, if you see down the side here, there's a little strap just along here where you can lean in and pull that strap up. What I think a previous owner has done is attach this pipe so that you can more easily lift that out, which I think is pretty ingenious, because that's pretty clever. Maybe the original wormery should look at doing this. Let me move over to the rest of the equipment we're going to be using. So here we have a sheet of newspaper, which we're going to use to put a single sheet of newspaper over the base of the wormery. We have shredded paper here, shredded newspaper and general paper. This is coconut husk peat, cocoa peat, that we received, whoever we received it from, thank you very much, very, very useful. There are 4 blocks in here, I think, and we're going to use one of them, or at least a quarter of that pack, to use as the base bedding for the worms. Then next over here we have a Hessian sack that is going to be dampened and used as a top to go on top of the worms to keep them warm. Then here we have a yellow bucket which we're going to use to soak the coconut fibre brick in. And then up here, sorry it's out of shot, this is the temporary bucket wormery that we made for Erica's worms when they arrived. And what I've also done, we're at the side of our house here, there is a radiator on the other side of this wall, and the wormery will sit on top of those two blue there, with obviously one of the wider sides to the wall, and that basically means that I'm happy that that's going to be secure there from wind. We don't get a lot of wind at the side of the house here, but just in case we do, and we'll most probably use something just to strap the wormery into these two blue pillars at the side. These are actually terracotta tiles that we haven't used. So now I'm going to get on, soak the cocoa fibre in the bucket. I'm also going to dampen the hessian down here, and I'm going to clean out the wormery. The wormery has now been cleaned thoroughly. It's been dried, it's been given a wipe over with a cloth that has had vinegar and water mix, 1 part vinegar to 5 parts water, and then it has been thoroughly rinsed out twice with water. You can see the lid here as well, not the lid, sorry, the base here. All of the holes are intact. If I move that up a bit, all of the holes are intact. So again, what happens, that goes in there. As I say, this pole is not supposed to be part of the original wormery, but you know what, if it's not supposed to be part of an original wormery, it should be. It's very, very clever. Much easier than leaning down there to pull the whole thing out. Anyway, now we are going to start layering the bases. These are the 3 things that we're going to use on the base. A sheet of newspaper to cover the base and those holes that I've just pointed out. Then this is reconstituted coir that has been reconstituted and then squeezed hand dry. And then this is slightly moistened shredded paper, newspaper and general paper. So that's it empty, popping the base in. Sheet of paper. I'll just go, let me put a tear in that. That can go like that. That'll do. Shredded newspaper, shredded paper. Any excess water that is in this coir peat compost will obviously be soaked up. Now, because I'm doing this in January, I am putting quite a bit of bedding in there. If you were doing this in the height of summer, or you're in a warmer climate, then maybe you don't need quite so much. I'll put one more. built it up a bit here because this is where I'm going to put the worms. Seed growing in there, look. There's a worm. Now I'm just going to tip those out. There are the worms in the bucket. Take those off. This was the base. What I'm doing is just going to pop that. Sorry, that was that way up. I'm just going to pop that like that. Now I've got the Hessian sack. I'm going to put that in there like that. That's slightly dampened as well. And then that is it. We were fed yesterday again. They've been fed every couple of days. They have some food. We're just going to close up the lid now. Lock the lever down. What I have realised is at the front here, there's a bit that's broken off. That sort of goes underneath the lip to keep the lid down at the corners. We just, sorry about that, just come round to the back. You can see that one there is intact. Turn it round, tuck it under the lid, and now that lid is effectively locked here with a clip grasp. Locked at the front here with a clip grasp and locked here fully. This is the wormery in its final place on top of these tiles here in packs. I put some terracotta tiles that we have spare down the side just to make sure that it doesn't wobble in the wind, though it's quite bottom heavy now with all of that in, so comfortable with that. I did check out the tap, by the way, when I was cleaning the whole thing, and the tap works absolutely fine. So don't have to look at replacing that. Leaving them there now for, well, that's their home now for, I would have thought, quite a good portion of this year. And we will be feeding them on a regular basis. We won't be feeding them in the next few days. We're just going to let them settle in there. As I said, there is some food there anyway. Let them settle in for a week, and then we're going to start feeding them food scraps from the kitchen, vegetable scraps and things like that. I am actually going to be also putting in some crushed eggshells, which we have been preparing over the last couple of weeks, and then that will keep the pH balance in there as they like it. Okay, thanks very much for watching. We'll do an update in about a month's time.